Good morning, everybody. Hi, I'm AJRoss, President and CEO of AJRoss Creative Media. Welcome to Creative Marketing on WTBQ. AJRoss Creative Media is a full-service marketing and advertising agency located in Chester, New York. Every week, we'll be discussing different topics and trends that can help market your business. If you would like to call us and ask a question or want to give your input, you can call us at 845-651-1110, or you can text your questions or comments to 845-397-7743. We're not live streaming on Facebook today, so we'll be...
We're going to repost that video later on.
We'll repost the video. We're waiting for our guest, Darcy Knapp, to call. Darcy is a president and chief web mechanic at SEO Web Mechanics. She has spent the last 14 plus years in online marketing and web management. Darcy stays busy as she is also a paid search analyst, SEO specialist, business consultant, and a copywriter. Well, we'll just wait for her to call in. So, okay.
Yep.
So what's going on?
Well, she's done a lot of great work for us, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, since we started using her, we've been getting a lot of people coming in, a lot of work from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big thing about SEO, which is search engine optimization for everyone out there. Is that everything is constantly changing, and that's one of the hardest things to keep up with is a lot of businesses don't have the time and resources to be constantly figuring out what the new rules are from Google and all the regulations that they have to keep up with to make sure that they're staying on top of their SEO.
Right.
So that it's great to have a specialist working with you to figure out how to handle that stuff.
Well, I don't know if we're going to talk to her because she called in late. So, okay. Darcy, are you there?
You said 10:33.
Oh, how are you? Listen, we're not live streaming today because we want to make sure when we do the video that we have you on Facebook. It's a whole long story. So, if you have friends that you want, just have them go to WTBQ's website and they can live stream the show with you. So,
okay.
So I just told everybody who you were. I'm going to really turn most of the show over to you and Matt. By the way, Matt Ross is here. He's
Hi, Matt.
Hi, how's it going?
And Darcy and AJRoss have been working together, almost a year now, right?
Yeah, that'd be close to it.
Yeah, and we've done some wonderful things together, and it's wonderful to get a bunch of, it's nice to get warm calls instead of cold calling. You know what I mean? So when you get called and say, hey, I saw you like number 1 or 2 organically on what we were searching for. And people say, how'd you do that? I said, well, it's my SEO person, so I give credit to where credit's due. So before I turn this over to Matt, I usually do a quote of the day. So do I have this quote here today? Let's see. Yes. Are you ready to hear my quote today, Darcy?
I lost you. What?
I usually do a quote of the day.
A quote of the day. Go ahead.
So here's my quote of the day. For people to discover your website, you need to build pathways and big flashing signs that lead them there. In digital marketing terms, this means you need links, and more links. And whoever this guy is, Luista, whatever, he's the monitorbacklinks.com. So I'm going to turn this over to Matt, and you guys can talk about what you do.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I know I mentioned earlier that, keeping up with, all the new rules and regulations that come out, especially from Google. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, how when a new rule comes out and how we have to, abide.
Well, Google is constantly changing the landscape. So there's always some new facet, some new feature, some new criteria that changes the world.
Right.
So if we look at, for instance, July of 2018, Google started penalizing sites without SSLs.
Right, right.
So if you didn't have an SSL and your site doesn't load on HTTPS, you're not as credible, you're not as safe, you don't care enough about your visitors. Therefore, for the lack of a $60 SSL, you got demoted.
Yeah, and now you're dropping in the rankings. People do a search, which otherwise you would come up, but now you're farther down the list.
Yeah, you're getting beat by horrible little websites that don't have half the credibility you have, but because they have an SSL and you don't, you get clobbered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these rules kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I know, you know, you can stay up on it, and it seems like Google will just kind of come out one day and be like, hey, this is the new thing.
Well, we like to say shift happens.
Right,
About every 90 to 120 days, Google has a shift.
Right,
That's
right.
just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I remember maybe it was around like 2014 or so when they called it, I think, Penguin or something.
We had Penguin, we had Panda, we had Hummingbird.
A nice, cute name for something that has to...
They're all just an effort to get rid of the spam sites.
Right, right, yeah. So, yeah, I was wondering, like, aside from Google, you know, there are other search engines out there like Bing and DuckDuckGo, and so I was curious, you know, what role they play into this whole situation, or are they kind of like...
So when we look at SEO, we only look at it from Google's standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If you rank on Google and you can get to page one, you'll probably be number one on search engines like Yahoo and Bing that don't have the same criteria.
Okay, so they're a little more lax with their results?
Yes.
Okay.
If you've ever done a search on Bing, you understand why people don't really use Bing for search, because the credibility of what comes up on page one is not ideal.
Right, right. Yeah, understandable. I mean, I know a lot of, you know, a lot of the new programs and hardware that comes out, they usually set their default search engine to Google for that reason. They want quality results.
I mean, when you build a website, you build it for Chrome. You don't build it for Internet Explorer.
Right, right. Well, unfortunately for us, we always have to make sure it works. But yeah, Google is always our number one priority.
Well,
too.
again, if you set everything up for Google search, for Chrome browser, and then you test it on IE and Safari and Firefox and update as needed, but your primary consideration is always Google.
Right, right. Yeah, so, you know, aside from just, you know, coming up sooner and higher on the list, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about, like, real-world benefits of you know, having this quality traffic or, you know, having optimized search engine content.
So when you look at search engine optimization, the goal is to get onto page one, preferably the top half of page one, but the landscape keeps changing. So whether or not you can rank depends on who's currently ranking for the keywords you want to rank for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you decide you want to rank for purple widgets and you do a search for purple widgets and you find Amazon and eBay and Walmart and Target and all these big boxes, there's no room for you. So you have to get more specific. You have to get dialed in and use a niche marketing strategy. So when someone is looking for that specific purple widget, and maybe they're looking for a purple widget with remote control, they can find you.
Right, right.
Because
so
you can get ranked for that longer key phrase with a short-tailed key phrases you probably can't rank for.
Yeah, so it's always harder to get a hold of those big terms.
Well, if you're going to fight the big box battle, you better have deep pockets because you're going to have to do paid search. You're not going to get there organically.
Right, right. Or at least a mix of the two.
Well, you can go long tail for organic. The short tail, you're going to have to do paid because if you look at the shift fourth quarter last year, the big box stores come up for everything now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Google
just
has
to get your
weighted
foot in the
sites
door.
by traffic.
Darcy, it's Alan. You guys are talking, and I kind of understand like 85%. So let me chime in here. You know, our clients are not the big box stores. Our clients are mostly small to medium-sized companies, and we kind of sway away from the pay-per-clicks because we believe we could use that money more on doing more organic SEO and that sort of stuff. How do you feel about that?
It really depends on what they want to rank for.
Right.
So if they're trying to rank for something that the landscape is full of big box stores, the only way to get on page one is pay-per-click. They have to look at niche marketing. Niche marketing will allow them to use a longer-tailed keyword organically to get those page one placements on those longer phrases.
Right. So if you wanted to come up for, say, televisions or something, like you're trying to sell televisions, you're competing with Best Buy and Amazon and all these other companies that have,
it's not going to happen.
Right.
Well, let's
the local small mom and pop television store wants to rank. Then they want to say, okay, I want to rank for television store Westchester.
Yes.
But that we can have a much better shot at getting them on page one organically. But if they decide they want to be on page one for the word television, oh my God, talk them out of it, because the pay-per-click would be atrocious.
Well, again, you're talking local, mom and pop TV store, which no longer exists. But if you're a smaller, entity, and you want, that would be more of a local kind of search and going after a certain niche audience. Question about link building. I was asked last night by a potential client how you do link building without giving away your secrets. How important is link building? And I know with our clients, and when we're working together, you do a package every month. And I said, well, yeah, she gets us linked on a lot of different places. And someone asked, well, how does she do that? Without giving up your secrets, can you kind of
link building is just labor intensive. It's about getting you onto social bookmarking sites, social media sites, other blogs that will allow us to post an article. It's just getting you, you're back to building those roadways. Imagine your website is a shopping mall and nobody can get there. Every backlink is a new roadway that goes to your mall.
Right.
Yeah, so this is just making sure that not only are you found, through searching on your site, but if someone's going to someone else's site, that you can be found there too.
Correct. And it's not even necessarily about getting that article posted to that blog to build that backlink for consumers. You're building that backlink for the search engine.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to go to break, Darcy, and we'll be back in a few seconds. This is Alan Ross with Matt Ross and Darcy Knapp. This is Creative Marketing and on WTBQ, and we'll be right back.
AJRoss Creative Media is the premier marketing, advertising agency, web design, and social media company in the Hudson Valley. AJRoss connects their clients with prospective customers by generating powerful marketing and advertising concepts. Meet with the AJRoss team and you'll walk away with a new and innovative approach that'll bring your company to the next level. Contact the AJRoss team and set up a free consultation and get started with the best. Visit AJRoss.com.
The Hudson Valley Cancer Resource Center advocates for and supports people living with and affected by cancer in the Hudson Valley. The center provides informational and educational resources, as well as offering support services for those going through all stages of cancer. The Hudson Valley Cancer Resource Center provides the necessary support tools and resources to educate, guide, and empower cancer patients and their families in all of our communities. To learn how you or a family member can avail yourselves of these resources, visit hudsonvalleycancer.org.
Tired of commuting and want to save money and time? Then join the sales department at WTBQ. Whether you live in Orange County or northern New Jersey, and we'll even share a list of accounts and contacts. Commissions paid weekly. FST Broadcasting DBA WTBQ Radio is an equal opportunity employer. For more information, email Taylor at WTBQ.com.
You're just trying to be better. We're just trying to help. The John Tesh Radio Show.
Monday through Saturday starting at 3 p.m.
Tesh.com.
After a long day, we're here to keep you company with great soft rock and interesting information you can use on WTBQ. Radio worth listening to.
WTBQ.
Okay, we're back. This is Alan Ross from AJRoss Creative Media, and this is Creative Marketing. I'm here with Matt Ross, who's the digital guru at AJRoss, and I'm also on the phone with Darcy Knapp. And Darcy is president and chief web mechanic at SEO Web Mechanics. Before we go and ask you more questions, just give us a little bit of background of yourself and what you've done throughout the years. Darcy?
I've been in digital marketing since people didn't understand what it was. My first 2 years, I was on a dial-up on a VPN. So for those of you that know what that is, you know the pain.
Yes, we do.
Right now, yeah, it was scary back then. You could make a 6-course dinner while you were waiting to get online.
How about having a Mac Plus with all those, whatever they were, that you had to back up every 2 minutes?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first computer was a 286SX.
Yeah.
And nobody would want one of those today, not even for a doorstop.
How about the Commodore?
No.
Remember the Commodore?
Yes, I do. I was very jealous. My cousin had a Commodore 64.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He also had Pong back in the day.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean,
yeah, but
you could have the computer, but there was no programs for it, So all right.
But so I've been in digital since, like I said, digital wasn't in vogue. Been through all the changes, all the upgrades. 18 computers later.
Right.
My first flat screen was like $800. It was awesome.
Right.
Now you can buy them for $89.
Right.
And they work a lot better.
Yeah.
So we do everything from domain acquisition, optimization, pay-per-click management, and we do a lot of cleanup. So people that are already doing work, already had some SEO work done, already doing some SEM but not doing it well, we do a lot of updates.
Right.
So it keeps us busy, and it keeps us on the cutting edge of change because as everything changes on the web, everybody's sites need to be changed. Everybody's strategy needs to be changed. And when you look at link building, it's all about, again, building those roadways to get seen. It's really a link popularity game. We don't care if users find the links. We care that search engines see the links and see your popularity growing month after month.
Where do these?
That's where the power is.
Where do these links come from? How do you? I know I don't know what I'm talking. Well, I don't.
That's okay. So we have software that goes out and chases the web looking for articles with related content, and then it's a matter of whether that article allows for a post back. Mm-hmm. So if you're the mom-and-pop TV store and you want to talk about the new cutting-edge Zenith TV, then we have to go find someone that's already on the web talking about those TVs on a blog somewhere that will allow us to post a comment back.
Oh, that's all you do, the comments.
That way it's relative.
Oh.
Right, because it has to be relative.
Right.
And then we link the username back to the website so that there's a backlink in the comment, not in the body of the comment, in the username, so that we can control the anchor text and the backlink. And then you have to understand that links posted are only out there as long as that website is out there, as long as that blog post is out there. So you're constantly having to do more links to keep your link count growing.
Yeah. So you're just you're getting quality links by being associated with these other blogs that have a following with quality
right. And at that
ranking.
point, the quality of the blog is not as important as the relative content.
Okay.
If you have a really high quality blog and they're talking about baby monitors, and you put a post back about how you have great Zenith TVs, that's
Right.
not relative.
Yeah. It's misleading, and search engines kind of pick up on that hey, you're not going in the right place. Like, this doesn't really
Correct.
make sense.
There's a lot of AI out there today, and you just don't want to piss Google off. The same way when we do link building, we like to start clients at a low level.
Right.
Start with 1 hour a month, do that for 6 months to a year, then go to 2 hours.
Right.
Don't start with 2 or 3 hours because you're going to send up red flags. A site that's never had any backlinks all of a sudden is getting hundreds of backlinks a month. Something's wrong.
I speak to potential clients or even clients that we have, and they say, well, about 6-7 years ago, I used to be involved in, whatever they, and I said, oh, that's great. That's, that's interesting, but.
6-7 months ago is old news. What you did 6-7 years ago is probably dangerous today.
Listen, I have a question. Besides, we had a discussion on a show last week. The news out is search optimizing voice. That's supposedly the new Google algorithms that everyone's going to be using their whatever the Echo or the Google thing.
Okay, so what you're looking at is not necessarily a new algorithm for Google. What you're looking at is a change in the way people complete their searches. So if you go back 2-3 years ago, before the Echo Dots, before the Amazons, before the Alexas, everybody typed in their questions and got their search results. When you look at today's numbers, I mean, you're dealing with 3.5 billion searches a day on Google. Mm-hmm. When we look at U.S., you're probably looking at only at about 500 million. But 75% of all search is initiated from a mobile device, mobile or tablet, predominantly mobile. And of that search, you've got 50% voice activated.
Yeah, and so the terms are going to be different.
The algorithm has changed. It's that people's processes have changed. The millennials do not type in a question; they talk to their hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the wording is going to change with their search. Whereas you used to type in, when you type in a search, you'll type in the keywords. But if you talk to your phone, you'll ask it a question like a person.
Correct. So when we look at, and then you also have to look at the change in the way Google displays search results. So fourth quarter last year, the world shifted somewhere around September. So when you go to a search results page, when it's a voice-activated search, or if you just ask Google a question, go type in, how do I train my dog? Mm-hmm. You're going to get 4 paid ads. Then you're going to get 5 FAQs, which are those questions and answers, depending on the question you've asked. Mm-hmm. And your first organic listing is going to be number 6 at best. If you've picked a category like dog trainer, because we asked how do you train your dog, you're going to get 3 Google Maps locations, and now your first organic listing is number 10. You're halfway down the page.
So it's a lot more competition for you.
Oh, yeah. So, again, that's why we look at what are the options. Okay, you can do paid search and pay $4 or $5 a click, but the question, if it's not directly related to your service, is never going to drive you a sale. So that can be expensive and depressing. Or you can start putting those questions on your website. So what we've seen a lot of clients turn to is to take the most ridiculous questions they get asked on a daily basis. Just get the girl or the guy that answers your phone to type up the questions when they're asked, and that question and the resulting answer becomes a blog post.
Right.
And you can hit page 1 of Google, top half of page for free, but you've got to write the question and the answer and tag the post out for search so that it matches. But you can use that blog roll to drive organic traffic. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get as many sales, because if the answer to the question isn't a service you provide, you're not going to get a sale.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. You know why I use you, Darcy? Because you take care of all of that stuff. And you get results. I mean, we've used a lot of SEO companies. They've been really well. But, when I say to you that, we haven't been getting any hits, and you said, well, you need to be changing copy a little bit here or there. And I said, oh, okay, can you take care of it? And then 2 hours later, it's taken care of. And all of a sudden, I started. Anyway, what I would like to also talk a little bit about is we're talking a lot about how to get people to when they're searching for certain things to come up organically, hopefully. But, another thing, and I'm sure you'll agree, because we partner in a lot of things, is this is all wonderful if you have a wonderful, great, beautiful, productive website.
Yes, you have to have a good user experience, or bringing all the traffic in the world isn't going to help you.
Yeah.
They're just going to bounce out.
And I always say to people, well, I can go to my cousin and have this done, or if you do this website, can somebody else fix it up? And I said, absolutely. I said, but, you get what you pay for. And again, you could pay me now, or you could pay me a whole bunch later when somebody screws up your site, But
well, I look at it, let me do it right. If it's done right, you don't piss off the search engines, you don't piss off your customer base. The new people that come in can find what they're looking for, and you build your business. And then you can grow your business. If you do it wrong, or you try to cheap out and go on Fiverr and get a website built for $5, you're not going to be in business for me to help you 6 months from now.
I know. We discussed that you had a client that you wanted us to get involved with, and we never heard from her, but she was doing it all wrong. In fact, we've walked away from some work which we don't like.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, because
sometimes you have to let the client go, because they're putting nickels
They're nickel and
ahead of
diming.
dollars.
Yeah.
And do it right. Do it once.
And keep
Get
it.
the business.
And then keep.
Grow your business. And
Yeah.
then do it all over again.
Yeah.
Every 18 months to 2 years, because the rules change, because Google changes. You're never done building a website.
Yeah, it's super important to realize that it's not a one-shot deal, that it is something that has to be maintained.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We've done some wonderful websites for our clients, and some of them are 2, 3, 4 years old. And I say, we have to redo. Well, I don't think it's that important. Okay. The most important thing for sales of any company these days, no matter what you do, is your website. Everyone
Your website is your 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week salesperson that never takes a break, never goes on vacation,
right.
works at 4 in the morning every day. Give it the best potential to bring in those new customers.
Yeah,
24/7.
and if you spend a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 to make $50,000, I think it's a great investment. Anyway, we're up.
And if your site,
Go ahead.
if your site's 2 or 3 years old,
Fix it.
you need to restructure, because 2 or 3 years ago, you had 20-30% mobile search, most B2B sites. Today you're talking 75 to 95% mobile. You have to restructure. You have to make sure that mobile experience will generate that lead bigger, better, stronger, faster than your desktop experience ever did.
Darcy, we're at the end. We're at the end of the show, but I'm going to have you back on in a few weeks, because we could talk for 2 hours on this sort of stuff. And
oh my God, we didn't even scratch the surface.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we continue this next week, and you come back next week, and we'll do another show, and we can move on and do some other stuff, because this is really, really important stuff. Darcy, thank you. Make that phone call for me, please. And hi, everybody. This is AJRoss from AJRoss Creative Media. This is Creative Marketing on WTBQ. We'll speak to you next week.